Hello, friend. I'm happy to see you joining me today. This is episode number 18 of the series of Coffee with Hannele Korhonen, Happy Customers and Happy Lawyers, and you are warmly welcome to join me. I'm Hannele from Lawyers Design School, and in these weekly live sessions, you will get actionable advice and tips on how to get more happy clients and make yourself a happy lawyer too with the help of legal design thinking. As always, if you have any questions or you want to comment on anything, the comment box below is open, so please feel free to write your thoughts there. Today we're going to focus on lawyers instead of customers this time. The other cornerstone of a successful law firm, in addition to its clients, are of course the lawyers themselves. And the question that's driving our work in Lawyers Design School and also behind these weekly live sessions is how to design a legal space where lawyers can be happy. And the topic of today's session is Gen Z and legal design. And my purpose is to look at some implications that the new generation that is entering the law has for the entire profession and the industry. And my hypothesis is that we, the older generations, like baby boomers and Generation X, and even the millennials, need to forget the law as we know it. And it's time for a drastic change, whether we like it or not. And Gen Z is ready to change the law, and they expect us to make that possible. Or they will vote with their feet, as they are doing already, as I will explain a little bit later. And I think that one good KPI on how good we are at designing a sustainable and attractive legal industry is how well the young lawyers are drawn to it. What do we see happening in the minds and the hearts of lawyers who are graduating from law schools today? Are they dreaming about working as a lawyer in big law, going after the traditional partner track, or is it something else, something completely else that they are looking for? So let's look at some data to get more solid understanding of what Gen Z is all about. And let's be clear, when we talk about Gen Z, we mean young people who were born after around 1995. There are varying definitions, but that seems to be the most common ground there. They are called Generation Z, the Gen Z. And Deloitte's report on understanding Generation Z in the workplace describes this generation with the following characteristics. Gen Z employees are pragmatic and realists. They have actually moved away from the fluffy idealism of the millennials, but they have not abandoned the purpose, the vision for a better world for everyone. It's actually quite the contrary. As pragmatists, Gen Z requires employers to walk the talk of their sustainability efforts. Like, enough with the talk, show us some real commitment to action and real impact. Gen Z was born and raised through the climate crisis as well as social justice movement, and they are highly concerned about the environment and the ethics. At the same time, their lives have been shadowed all the time by a global economic stress. Secondly, for Gen Z, the whole concept of diversity matters is taking whole new layers, and DEI, like meaning diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's becoming a non-negotiable. So diversity also covers a broad spectrum of dimensions like identity, orientation, gender, and race. So diversity and inclusion cannot be an isolated and random fun project every now and then, like posting rainbow flags to support the Pride movement once a year. The Gen Zers are no longer asking whether you approve them as they are or not. They will design the future and the workplace where they can be whoever they want to be. And it's up to you and me to accommodate that if we want to work with them. Then thirdly, the approach to technology is another factor that differentiates the Gen Z from its predecessors. Because members of the Gen Z are digital natives. They were practically born with the mobile device in their hands, and they practically never put their phones down. And they cannot even imagine a world without the technology. So they don't have to be convinced about using some new device or solution. They probably know 10 better alternatives to your suggestion as some new innovative tool that you can use. Then the fourth characteristic that I actually love the most, a Gen Z is innovative. They think outside the box and they value design and creative skills. And they want to get their voice heard and participate in the conversation. They have new ideas and they are not afraid to promote them. And what I think is beautiful is that Gen Z values dialogue over confrontation. That is actually said in the McKinsey's report on Gen Z. Gen Z can actually hold space for different truths, whereas the previous generations have had a hard time accepting diverse points of view. And this is how you change the world, through dialogue and not with a fist fight, especially if it's about who's right and who's wrong in your beliefs and values. So if you look at these characteristics and think about your own workplace, your own law firm, or your own legal team you're currently working in, how well do you think that you are equipped to welcome this new generation? And if you think that, well, you are not that prepared, you are definitely not alone, because law firms are facing huge problems with their recruitment of young lawyers. Or more specifically, they have huge problems in keeping the young talents in the house. And the retention rate in law firms is dangerously high. And it looks like that the law firm leadership fails to adapt to the needs and values of the Gen Z. And it goes actually even deeper than that. Law firm leadership does not understand Gen Z, what they want out of work and how they would like to work and what kind of lawyers they would want to be. And this mismatch between the leaders and the Generation Z leads to these huge turnover rates and law firms struggling. So I think that it's worthwhile to think about how you are going to survive as a law firm without the lawyers to do the work, because the Gen Z is the future of the law firms, and they are you in 10 or 20 years from now. And it's not like they are going to grow out of their characteristics or the paradigm shift that they are bringing to the table. And it is ultimately employers and leaders who need to adapt to this change. The studies say that Gen Z lawyers leave the firm after they have paid their student loans, after they have sufficed their most urgent needs and for financial security and gained some experience. They go to in-house or NGOs or startups or start their own practice, somewhere where they can manifest their own values and ways of working. And surely in a law firm, you can always hire new associates to replace the old ones. But in the long run, it's not sustainable having to keep investing in the new employees all the time. And the reality is that a fat paycheck does not really make Gen Z stay. And the old means of financial incentives and offering a shortcut to partnership do not work for the new generation that values other things over money, prestige, and glamour, like free time and mental health and opportunities to learn and make a difference. And to find these qualities in work, young lawyers are looking for alternative legal professions, and not the traditional law firm paths anymore. And the solution to this challenge is not to throw in more money when it's the entire legal industry that needs redesign. Employee experience, business model, partnership model, service delivery, communication, leadership, culture, all of it. The solution is really to break the mold and redesign a law firm where Gen Z can actually and want to work. Another external factor accelerating the change comes from the clients. Generation Z makes the future clientele of your law firm. So it's not just that young lawyers are demanding changes in the workplace, it's the clients demanding the changes in the way that you serve them. And the Gen Z does not want to be serviced in the way the industry standard currently is, like slow, analog, expensive, complex. And just think about the impact that the Gen Z characteristics as your future clients. Their native approach to technology, innovation, and creativity, and their demand for sustainable business where diversity matters for real. So your Gen Z clients will need Gen Z lawyers to serve them. You don't speak the same language or use the same tools or channels as they do. So to have a viable succession plan for your future, you need to have the Gen Zs on board. Okay, so where's the link to legal design thinking in all of this, you might ask? Here's the catch-22. You need the Gen Z to change the business model and the culture in the law firms to attract more talents. You need their ideas and their perspective and their voice to future-proof your business. And at the same time, there is this brain drain going on. It's the exact same thing as designing client experience or new client-centric services. You need to start with the client, or in the case of employees, you need to start with the employees and get them involved in the process. That's the way you can design the change and use this human-centered design to improve the law firms. You cannot just assume things on the Gen Z's behalf and then just hope for the best that it will work. So many law firms probably think that they are already doing so much to attract new lawyers, adapted their workplace to meet the Gen Z. But it's all done from the law firms or from partners' perspective, what they think is good and sufficient for the next generation. And here is where the legal design thinking comes to play. When you adopt legal design thinking principles, you can make the Gen Z part of your firm and part of the development process of redesigning the practices and the models. And then young lawyers will feel involved and valued in the decision-making process, and you also get understanding and ideas to push the change going. Another link between Gen Z and legal design thinking is that Gen Z already sees the value and wants to use legal design thinking in their legal work. They don't need any convincing. And in fact, Gen Z goes as far as saying that legal design thinking is a must-have skill set to stay relevant in the future of law. For them, it's not a question of whether or not you should be interested. It's a matter of how to get started and which employer makes it possible. I did a set of interviews with Gen Z lawyers when I was designing the legal design workshops for Lawyers Design School. And it really startled me that they were so ready and conscious about legal design already. All of them had understanding and also appetite to learn and adopt legal design tools in their everyday work. And at the same time, quite sadly, none of them were very confident that their current employers were willing to support their learning or provide them with learning opportunities in legal design through their current work. So here is a tip for you if you are listening close enough. Here is your opportunities to stand out. Offer opportunities to learn and adopt legal design thinking for your lawyers. That's a golden opportunity to update your succession plan and future-proof your law firm. And if you want to learn more about working with us on these opportunities, go check out our legal design thinking workshops at lawyersdesignschool.com. So there you have it about Gen Z and legal design thinking. Now it's your turn. What did you learn today? And are you ready to start experimenting with legal design thinking in your law firm? I'd love to hear from you. So if you're interested in having a chat with me, please send me a DM and I will get back to you and let's continue the discussion. Thank you so much for joining me today, and be sure to tune in also next week for the next episode. Thank you. Bye bye.